Welcome back. My name is Kaya, and today we're going to talk about breastfeeding and pumping. So, I am a new mom, and I'm a first-time mom. So, that means I didn't know nothing. I had no idea what I was doing when it comes to breastfeeding, pumping, formulas, anything like that. So, I'm going to talk about some of the tips that I can recommend for pumping and breastfeeding. Now, I call these my miracle tips just because they helped me get through the whole process of breastfeeding and pumping, and I'm still going through the process, and it helps me with my production. So I'm going to give you some information about what I think is helpful when it comes to breastfeeding and making sure your baby has a lot of liquid gold. Now, I have several different tips. I'm going to go into detail what I think is good things to focus on, and making sure that you kind of do your research on these things. Now, I would always suggest, if you're having concerns when it comes to breastfeeding and pumping, always consult your doctor or your lactation consultant. They have some great tips on how to help you with latching issues, production issues, things like that, and making it feel more comfortable for you and your baby. It's all about how you and your baby function together and making sure that you're producing enough milk for him or her. And I always suggest first off to make sure you meet with a consultant. But here are some of my tips that I think works for breastfeeding in general. I have a list of them. So I would say moms, don't give up. The first 6 to 8 weeks of breastfeeding are so hard. There's a lot of issues with engorged breast, nipple cracking, dryness, baby not latching properly. There's just a whole bunch of different issues. But if you can be strong for the first 6 to 8 weeks, you can do anything. And I feel like breastfeeding is the most rewarding thing when it comes to being able to feed your baby. You bond with your baby. It's the best feeling in the world. So I always say, just get through the first 6 to 8 weeks, and you'll definitely start to see the reward when it comes to the ease of breastfeeding or pumping. Next thing I would say is keep hydrated. Drink a lot of water. I would say like 60 ounces of water. I love the essential water. It's so good, and it comes in a big 32-ounce jug of water. And then the second thing is my little secret. It's awesome. I would say drink a lot of body armor. I don't know what's in this, but it helps with my milk production so much. I did a lot of trial and error the first few months of my son's life, and once I found body armor, I never went back. And it's so hydrating. It makes you feel, hydrated. It has coconut oil, coconut water, electrolytes, vitamins, things like that, and it's really good. You can find these at any store. I say buy in bulk because you're gonna need it, but this is awesome. The next thing I would suggest is, before you start to breastfeed, before you pump, I know motherhood is stressful and it comes with a lot of beautiful challenges. I would say relax. Try to find time to relax and just let it flow and be calm, because once you start with that whole process of being relaxed, you'll produce a lot more milk and you'll be able to have a lot more ease with it instead of being stressed out. Alright, next thing I would suggest is, when you're taking your showers, make sure you massage your breast and make sure you use warm water on them. That will help once you get out of the shower with your pump. With the actual production of the milk, you'll receive, I'll say you produce a lot more ounces after that, because you're already relaxed. And then the warm of the shower helps with you being able to do a letdown easier. So I would say definitely take a hot shower and let them hit your breast so that you can feel better when you're pumping, and then you produce a lot more milk in that case. Alright, the next thing is, if you're exclusively breastfeeding or if you're exclusively pumping, whatever your schedule is, make it work for you. And when your baby is feeding, pump and pump a lot. And then another thing is, start out pumping early. Start in the hospital. because you're going to produce a lot of colostrum anyway, and that's going to help with your baby down the line with development. So pump a lot. You can store it later on, store it on ice, you can store it in the hospital, or you can just feed your baby with it. But pump a lot, when you're in the hospital, because that will help with the production of your milk and be able to store milk later on. I wish I would have done that and I would have knew, but it took me a lot of trial and error to get to that point of being able to really learn that the more you pump, the more milk you produce, and it makes it easier down the line when you have to supplement or you're not producing as much. So try to produce as much in the hospital as possible. Next thing is making sure you have nipple creams. I know you don't want to think about that, but making sure you have a good nipple cream, one for moisture, one for cracks and things like that. I have two that I would recommend. The Lantinol nipple cream, this is like a holy grail. You want to use this one to help with soreness. This one really does work. And then I use this one, ERA Organics Nipple Balm. This one is natural and it's baby safe. And I really like this one to be able to moisturize. I have like coconut oil and things like that in it. And it's baby safe, so it's a plus. Alright, the next thing I would suggest is avoid mother's milk teas or anything like that has fenugreek in it, because fenugreek can give your baby a bad reaction to it, so they can get a rash or they can get diarrhea or things like that. So I would say avoid it, and sometimes it hinders your actual milk production and you don't want that. You want to produce more milk. I would say avoid it. A lot of people jump to that kind of stuff first because they think that it's going to work and it's going to help produce them more. My son had a bad reaction to it, and then I googled it and I'm like, oh my god, what's going on? There's a lot of women that have reactions to it and their babies have reaction to it, so I just say avoid it. Don't use it. Then I have on here, invest in a good electric pump, or yeah, just invest in a good electric pump. I think that will help you to while you're in the hospital. A lot of insurances offer it for free and they pay for them, so you might as well go ahead and do that, and you get replacements too free with insurance. And then invest in a good manual pump or a Haka. I'm going to show you both. When you're first starting to produce milk, you leak a lot. Your baby cries, you leak. You walk in down the hall, you leak. Get out of the shower, you leak. Everywhere you leak. When you're out about, you leak. I would say invest in a Haka. These ones are really inexpensive. These ones just hook onto your breast and they catch all of the milk, which is really nice, and it's comfortable, so it doesn't actually, it's not like an active suck, it's just like a natural suck. So I would say invest in one of these. These ones are really good when you're first starting to produce milk, and these are awesome. Also, you can also get milk savers. These ones can go right under your bra, and then they'll collect milk as well, and then you can just drain it out in the bottles. And then the Lantinol manual pump. Oh my god, I love this thing. Whenever I am in the car with my husband and baby, I can manually pump in the car. This thing is such a lifesaver. If you don't pack milk on the go, you can bring this thing in. If you're having a long drive or you're going somewhere, you can pump on the go. Another thing is, with your electric pumps, you can invest in car adapters or in like hand-free adapters that can ease a lot of pressure for you to use both hands. You could just use the adapters, and then from there you'll be able to use it like hands-free and then pump on the go. Another thing is, invest in a good pumping bra if you're going to be pumping. That will allow you to be hands-free, especially when you're dealing with a newborn. You have a lot of things you have to do, and sometimes your baby wants to be held. You can use the pumping bra, and it will avoid all of that kind of hassle you have to deal with having your hands free. Let's see. And then these are, I haven't opened it, but the car adapters look like this. For my pump, I use the 9-volt machine, like a lighter adapter. And then this one is for my pump. Now, I was telling you before to avoid any products with fenugreek. You can actually use products that help with lactation. Oatmeal definitely helps. So eat a lot of oatmeal and hydrate. But you can also buy products like this that are already made for you. Like this one's a chocolate oatmeal cookie, and these ones are from Milky Mom. And then they have also brownies too that have like flaxseed in them. And other ways to produce, well, other herbs really to produce milk. So these ones are really yummy. Okay, make sure you sterilize your pump utensils. You can either do that like using boiled water, or you can put them in the refrigerator. Do some research about that first, but you put them in the refrigerator and then you won't have to clean them at every use. You can just clean them at the end of the day. Another thing I would suggest is, when it comes to breastfeeding your child, find a good position that works for both of you. My son, he wouldn't latch on certain positions, and then I tried one where we were like laying down. He loves that position. He latches with ease, and that helps transition him to be able to use the other positions, and he learned how to latch. Because you gotta think, babies don't know how to latch right away, and it takes a lot of practice and a lot of learning. It's a big learning curve for both mommy and baby to learn how to latch. So I say look at positions, find something that's comfortable for you and your baby, and it will definitely help you with ease later on being able to learn other positions or latch on other positions. Another thing I would suggest is daily affirmations. Tell yourself, I could do this, I have this, I got this, I'm a super mom. Because being able to breastfeed and pump in general, not everyone can do it, or not everyone wants to do it. So be grateful that you are able to do it and that you're able to provide that liquid gold for your baby. And just treat yourself kind, mothers. Be kind, confident, loving to yourselves, because it is stressful. And like I said, the first 6 to 8 weeks are very hard to adjust to pumping or breastfeeding. And just know that pumping is breastfeeding and breastfeeding is breastfeeding. And just in general, if you have to supplement, you have to feed your baby, by all means, do what you gotta do. Alright ladies, so those were my miracle tips on breastfeeding and pumping. I hope some of this information helped you as far as being able to produce more milk, store more milk, or anything like that. Let me know if you have any other questions regarding breastfeeding and pumping. Like and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day.